What's going on, guys? Ness here. What I have in front of me today is a set of Joy-Cons that are experiencing the dreaded Joy-Con drift. What the Joy-Con drift is I don't know if it's an excess of dirt or something gets damaged, but it causes the Joy-Con analog sticks to drift in one direction or another, causing for a very unpleasant experience while trying a game. And for a while, the only way to address this issue was to have your Joy-Cons sent back to Nintendo and have them repair them, which would more than likely incur a fee or two. Fortunately now, you can actually purchase some replacement Joy-Con analog sticks. So what I'm going to be doing is repairing these two Joy-Cons and going through the process step by step in case you guys are having this same issue. So I'm going to be starting with the red Joy-Con or the right Joy-Con. And the first thing you want to do is take out the 4 screws that hold together the housing for the Joy-Con. Once those 4 screws are out, you want to use one of your tools to kind of gently pry the controller open. Once open, you want to go ahead and remove the battery. Just pull on it slightly and it should pop right out. The next thing you want to do is gently move this sensor out of the way. Just go ahead and pop it out. It should pop out similar to the battery. Just go ahead and put it over to the side. Now you're going to go ahead and remove the screws that keep the center plate in place. Once these 3 screws are removed, you should be able to go ahead and remove the center plate, allowing us access to the analog stick that is causing us the issue. Go ahead and remove the 2 screws that are keeping the analog stick in place. And use one of your tools to gently pry open the latch that is keeping the ribbon cable in place. Once the latch is up, the analog stick should come right out. Before we put in the new analog stick, let's make sure that its little gasket is properly aligned. Then go ahead and put the analog stick in its proper orientation. And then very gently use one of your tools to put the ribbon cable back in the area in which you took out the first one. Please resist the urge to use any type of metal tweezers or put an excess amount of pressure on the ribbon cable. These things are pretty fragile. Once that's done, go ahead and put in the 2 screws for the analog stick. Make sure the shoulder buttons are lined up, and then go ahead and put back the center plate. Put back the 3 screws that keep the center plate in place. And go ahead and put back that sensor that we took out. Once that's done, go ahead and pop the battery right in. And make sure the battery connector is right back in its original place. Close up the housing. And what I like to do is I like to test the Joy-Con out first, make sure that everything lights up and it's working properly before I go ahead and put in the screws. Put back the screws, and now we're ready to move on over to the next Joy-Con. This one is the blue Joy-Con, or in this case the left side Joy-Con. Same thing as before, remove the 4 screws keeping the housing together for the controller. Gently pry open the shell. Be careful not to pull with any excess force because there are some ribbon cables. Remove the battery like before. Remove the screws keeping the center plate in place. we don't have to remove this center plate, we can just move it over to the side. There's the analog stick we're trying to get to. Now there's a ribbon cable blocking one of the screws for the analog stick. So go ahead and use one of your tools to pry the latch, and go ahead and move that ribbon cable out of the way. Let's tackle that ribbon cable, keeping the analog stick connected. Now let's remove the two screws keeping this analog stick in place. The analog stick should pop right out. And now we're ready to put in the new one. Go ahead and line up the new analog stick. And put its ribbon cable back in place. Put back the two screws, keeping the analog stick in its housing. And reconnect the ribbon cable that we removed in order to gain access to the screws. Once again, please resist the urge to use any type of metal tweezers or apply any excess force to this ribbon cable. They're pretty fragile. With some patience, you should get it right back in. Make sure your shoulder buttons are aligned and put the center plate back in its place. Put back the screws, keeping the center plate in its correct position. Put the battery back, it should pop right back in. And then close up the housing for the Joy-Con. Go ahead and put back all four screws that we removed in the beginning. And this Joy-Con's ready to go. Go ahead and plug the Joy-Cons back into your Nintendo Switch. And if you notice any type of latency with either analog stick, go ahead and run a quick calibration. That should fix the problem right up. Once that's done, your Joy-Con should be good as new. As you guys can see, the process is pretty easy. It's just a little time consuming dealing with all those ribbon cables and small parts. But I'm just happy that there's now a cheap and effective way to fix your Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons without having to send them back in. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, this is Ness, signing out.